Hi. I think we're here. I think we're live.
Woohoo!
We figured it out.
Yeah! Hi, this is Liz and Mel with True-Blood.net, and we are recording live from, well, Comic-Con's over, but we'll just say it anyway. We're live from Comic-Con. And we're going to wrap up what we experienced, and especially, of course, the True Blood panel. And we're going to talk a little bit about last night's episode, I think.
You know what? We're on the wrong side of each other. I'm going to be doing like this.
I'm going to be doing like this.
Oh, well. We also have Comic-Con hair and eyes.
And I have a cold, so we're...
Viewer discretion is advised.
Yes. Do not show this to your children.
And the filter is way gone now, you guys.
And, yeah, because it's just at that point right now. And we're actually in the same room together.
Yay!
Maria says, besties. We don't get to do this very often. So, anyway, let's start talking about the panel.
The panel, yeah. So it was a little sad.
It was
got a little
quite
teary.
sad.
We weren't like Kristen Bauer levels of crying,
no,
but we were both kind of sad. I do want to give a shout out to HBO and thank them. They gave us a reserve ticket, which made life a lot easier. Liz was already in the room, and then I was able to come in later. We were doing some other stuff, and because I had the reserved seat, I didn't have to stand in line for a long time and fight my way in.
Yeah.
So that made life a whole lot easier. So thank you to HBO for that. The panel itself, several people, when we posted the zillion photos that Minda took for us, which you can see at True-Blood.net, they wondered where Skarsgård was. So they must have missed the 15 times that we said he wouldn't be there. He wasn't there. That's where.
He's in London.
He's working on Tarzan, so he wasn't there. Ryan Quanten wasn't there either. I'm not sure why. I think he was working on a project too. But Rutina Wesley was there.
Yeah.
That was a little, I mean, we saw her on the list in advance, but it was really nice to see her. And she was getting a little teary-eyed.
She was.
But
can I just tell you, she wore the coolest jacket.
She did.
It was so cool. And she really gets into this because I think, well, I wasn't here last year, but the year before, she did her nails, like, all in fangs.
Yeah.
She just really gets into it, all caught up in the fan side of it. So she's a Trouvie, guys. She's a Trouvie.
She is.
So
I was going to pull up that photo, but I didn't practice in advance, so I don't know what I would end up showing you. So it was nice to see her. Carrie Preston and Chris Bauer were on the panel for the first time, and they were really excited about that.
Yeah.
Chris Bauer still hasn't cried about the show being over.
He hasn't.
And there are a few people that have it like it's their mission. Carrie Preston in particular, it's her mission. She's going to make him cry. So
just spent an hour with Kristen Bauer. She couldn't make it. I don't think she made it through one sentence.
No. And there were a lot of people, a surprising number of people, who were commenting and saying it's obvious that Eric dies based on the fact that Kristen Bauer cried when talking about shooting her final scenes with Alex. If you want to use that as your clue, I don't know what to tell you. Kristen cries about everything. She's an emotional person.
She is. Last time we interviewed her, she was talking about her favorite charity and the project that she was working on in Africa, and she got very emotional.
Yes.
Over that. She's just that kind of person. She's extremely all heart. She's 100% heart, and she wears it on her sleeve. And
you can't read anything into any character's fate based on whether or not Kristen Bauer cried while talking about them, because if that's the case, then it's a freaking massacre, you guys.
Yeah.
Everybody's dead.
Yeah. The way Kristen cried. None of them make it.
No.
But we know that they do. So it was quite an emotional panel. Nathan Parsons.
Yes.
Was his first time on any panel. And of course, he's only one season, one and done, but he talked about how the cast really kind of pulled him in and made him feel a part of it, even though it was for a limited time, and they had all been together for seven years. He talked about how comfortable, and even for Comic-Con, well, Mel could talk about that more because she actually got to talk with him one-on-one because she saw him at a party.
That's right. I was at the Warner Brothers party on Friday night, and he was there, and it was sometime on Saturday afternoon before it finally clicked that he's also on the Originals, which is a Warner Brothers show, and that's why he was there. There were a lot of the cast members from the Originals and Vampire Diaries and The Following and Arrow, and anyway, a lot of Warner Brothers shows. But
Arrow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, this
Stephen
is
Amell.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, I got to hang out with Stephen Amell. Yeah, I talked to him. He showed me pictures of his baby, and but yeah. So I went up to Nathan Parsons. I went to Stephen Amell too, but went up to Nathan Parsons at the end of the night. It took me that long to work up the nerve, and actually he was surrounded by people the whole time too, so he was having a good time. So I go up to him, and I was just gonna, just wanted to say hi and introduce myself, and maybe get a photo with him. So I go up to him, and he's like, "Hey, how's it going? Are you having a good time?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm having a really good time. This is a really good convention." He's like, "I'm having a blast." And yeah, he was having a really good time. He was it's like Liz said, it was his first time at Comic-Con, so he was really enjoying it. But he said that he had been nervous about it all. And he had said that to Kristen Bauer earlier in the day, and she was like, "Oh, honey, don't worry, I'll take care of you," and she kind of took him under her wing. And he said, and the whole cast has been that way. I mean, on the set and at these different events that they've gone to do press, he said that the cast has really taken him under their wing, and it's just been really wonderful. And just so you know, he was rather drunk, and that's when the truth comes out, because I've heard some other things from people that I cannot repeat, because they were pretty drunk. But in this case, it was all positive. I mean, his experience is legit 100% positive with the people on this show, so on True Blood.
And he repeated it on the panel, too.
He did when he was not drunk. So
it was legit. He really appreciated the welcome that he got.
Yeah.
Another person whose first time it was on this panel was Sarah Newland at camp.
And at camp, that's right.
Yeah, she hadn't done this before, and she was all excited about it. And she did well.
She did a good job. And, she said they were talking about, I think it was when they were talking about what their most emotional scene was to film or something like that. And of course, Kristen Bauer started crying. But she was talking about when Eric released Pam in season 5, and she still gets all teary about that. Mm-hmm. But Sarah Newland said, at the end of season 6, she really thought her character was going to die. She thought Jason would pull the trigger. He had her with the gun up to her head. And she said, and she deserved it. She deserved it. But that it was during that, because she said her most emotional scene that she had to film for True Blood, we haven't seen yet. It's Sarah's final scene. And she said she's at her lowest point, and I guess it's pretty intense. We're going to have a spoiler section to talk about.
Yeah.
The preview that they showed us, just in case you haven't watched it and are trying not to get spoiled. But apparently that's coming up, and it's pretty intense. And Brian Buckner, said that he had to explain to Anna Camp's boyfriend why
things happened the way they did.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how to say this without being too spoilery. I mean, obviously it's on the panel, so I guess he doesn't consider it a spoiler, but he had to explain why she was being punished the way that she was and why it was deserved for her character. Because I guess it's pretty horrific. I think I know what it is, and so I'm trying not to say that and just stick to what he said. But he said he had to explain. Anna Camp's boyfriend is Skylar Austin, who is also in Pitch Perfect, and he said that he had to explain why Sarah was being punished the way that she was, and that why Anna was in the setup that she was in when he was on set. So. And she gets what she deserves, is what they said. Sarah Newland gets what she deserves. So that's going to be difficult to watch, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
And we also haven't seen, Stephen Moyer said we haven't seen his most emotional scene yet. And did Anna say that, Paquin?
No, Anna said that her most emotional scene was when Tara died.
Right, Rutina getting shot in the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Rutina said. Her most emotional scene was when she got shot in the head, and then watching, having to not react while Anna and Nelson were performing their roles, and just the intensity of it all. It was very emotional for her, and she had a difficult time not coming back to life and and reacting. And then Anna said, you get to love these people like family, and then you have to pretend like they've been shot in your, that she's bleeding out in your arms. And she said, you love these people so much, it's pretty easy to tap into that grief.
Yeah.
So that was her most emotional scene, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
Chris Bauer said his most emotional scene was his proposal to Holly.
Yeah, because he said he basically screwed up when he proposed to his wife. Like, he made Woody Allen look like the most confident man in the world because he was so insecure that she was going to say no. So he said when they were watching, that scene was coming up, he told his wife, okay, pretend that you're Holly and I'm me. And this is what I would have said. Yeah. And she bought it. He's like, yeah, and she bought it. So that was his most emotional. Who else said that theirs we haven't seen yet? Oh, was it Jessica?
It might have been.
No, for Jessica, it was when she killed the fairy daughters.
Oh.
The fairies. Anna Camps is still coming up. Stephen Moyers is still coming up. Somebody else, and I cannot remember who it is. Oh, no. I think Rutina said something about that she's got a really emotional thing coming up, too. Oh. She said that getting shot in the head was really hard, but that there's also something else coming up. We haven't seen Rutina's we haven't seen the last of her. Obviously, we saw her last night. We saw Tara last night, but there's more coming with her. So, or maybe that was when they were talking about their last days on set. I'm really tired, guys.
Yeah, it kind of ran together because these were audience questions, and some of them were kind of similar.
Yeah.
Your favorite scene, your favorite emotional scene, your favorite. There was another favorite that a fan wanted to know, and they're all kind of, sort of connected. So the answers were similar, and they started to run together a little bit.
It gave them a chance to reminisce. It was what's your favorite season was one of them.
Favorite season.
Yeah.
And many of them said that this season was their favorite season.
It was kind of evenly split between this season and season one, just, the nostalgia factor, I think, for season one, and getting started on this wild ride, this crazy ride, I think Anna said.
Yeah. Stephen, his favorite was this and season one. Because he got to meet and work with Anna. And it wasn't even, but you know what I liked? He talked about it wasn't even just meeting her on the romantic level and, friendship and all.
It was working with her.
It was a professional thing that he just really, he really had a lot of respect for her as an actor, as well as Deborah Ann Wall. And he just really praised the two of them for their work. And, I love that about Stephen Moyer. And really, the whole cast.
I was going to say, they get that way. It's like
they're very selfless.
Up there.
They're very selfless and very easy to want to sing the others' praises. And
Anna got a lot of praise. Anna got a lot of praise from there. This has been a strong season for her. And
it's
we love Sookie, and we love Anna Sookie, and this season has been gratifying.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So, let's see. Brian Buckner was talking about the season, of course, getting back to the story of Bill and Sookie, and he kept saying, he said it a couple of times that, yes, we are getting back to the Bill and Sookie story, but it's not going to be in a way that you think.
Yeah, it's not going to be what the fans expect.
So the fans, and what are the fans expecting?
Them to be together at the end.
Right.
I'm telling you, they're not in the game.
Yeah.
Unless there's some major twist, which we might talk about in the spoilers. But I don't know. I just I don't. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. It looks so obvious that they're putting Bill and Sookie back together for forever, for a happily ever after, and that I just don't see it.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. But Bucky also said that, so somebody asked him about the flashbacks.
Yes.
And we've had a lot of flashbacks. And
yes.
he said one of the reasons that they're doing that is that it's a vehicle for, especially in Bill's case, it's a vehicle for Bill to get back to himself, to who he really is. And that's why we're flashing back to when he was human. And then for the other characters, like for Eric and Pam, we're filling in gaps.
Mm-hmm.
in their histories. It's our last chance to do that.
Right.
And so they're taking the opportunity to fill in some gaps and also weave that into the storyline. Obviously, those flashbacks to the 80s and 90s show us how they came to Shreveport, and we get to see Nan and the Magister again. Yeah. But we also, it introduced us to the Yokonoma Corp and the Yakuza, which obviously after last night's episode, that's now come back together. So
for all you people who were asking, why the why these guys have never been referred to or heard of before, that's your answer.
They have been. We've known about the Yokonoma Corporation since episode 1.
I mean, right, the Japanese company that created True Blood.
And we knew the name, too.
So... But there's some people out there who's like, well, we never saw any. Why all of a sudden we've never seen or heard of? Why have we never heard of? Why?
You need to go back and watch the seasons again.
Yeah, you may have forgotten.
They're there.
So yeah, there's a reason. Everything has a reason. They don't just throw stuff up there and go, oh, no.
Yeah.
And I've got to say, even the Were-Panther storyline that never happened.
Thank God.
This was not so much about Hotshot, but more about Jason's growth as a character.
Yes.
In his position as a police officer. He kind of fell into it.
Sheriff.
Yeah. I mean, and he just kind of fell into that. He didn't earn it. He didn't work for it. He didn't educate himself. He didn't.
That's true.
He didn't
have any training.
Nothing. No training. He didn't go to boot camp. None of that happened. So that's why they had the hotshot scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And it also had
I think they decided that they didn't want to do it.
Well, that too.
Because that would have been too much.
They also had to show, it's a character change as far as Jason. Jason was the womanizing slob, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Stuck with anything in a skirt.
Yeah.
They had to flip that over on him and say, you know what goes around comes around. True. Eventually, it's going to come back and hit you. Mm-hmm. You're going to have to make some better choices and better decisions from here on out. Because after that, he did start to change really significantly.
That's true. That's a good point.
So
that was a turning point for him.
Yeah. So everything has a reason. I enjoyed seeing Nelson Ellis and Nathan Parsons goofing around with Deborah Ann right between them. And
you're going to have to watch that.
Yeah, you're going to have to, because they were playing up their characters on the show. And, they were having,
it's a sandwich.
Yeah, they were having some fun with that.
Yeah. So. And they were so complimentary to each other. It's clear that they really enjoy working together. Nelson, he was more verbal than he's been in a while.
Yeah.
He's very, very shy. But he was very complimentary toward. He obviously loved that he got to work so much with Deb and with Nathan.
Yeah.
The three of them. I'm looking forward to seeing what's coming up with them with those characters, because it's clear that the three of them really clicked and really respect each other and the work that they were doing. Because Nathan and Nelson, they're both straight men, but they had this real. The chemistry. They had this chemistry, and they weren't afraid to go with it. So, and they were kind of messing with that on stage too. It was there was some funny stuff there.
Good acting skills.
Yeah,
great acting skills.
They're not afraid to go there off screen too, a little bit. But there was one question: which other character would you play? Mm-hmm. And several people said Lafayette. Carrie Preston said she'd want to play Lafayette. And he was kind of preening a little bit, so she starts doing throwing her hair like he does the scarves, and stuff, and mimicking him. It was really funny.
And Kristen Bauer said that she just loved his eyelashes.
Yes, they asked who she. Several people also said Pan Lafayette. Nelson said Pan, And so I don't know. Several people said Pam, and Kristen goes, Pam.
Yeah.
Like, can't really argue with that.
Who doesn't want to be Pam?
I know.
On that show?
But she said, well, actually, and he's like, oh, you wouldn't change it, the moderator. And she said, well, maybe Lafayette. They do have, the eyelashes
or something.
The eyelashes in common, and the clothes and the good lines and everything. So that was fun. That was a fun thing. And Anna Camp said she would play Jessica. She'd want to play Jessica, but Deb does such a great job. And Deb was like, she'd love to play Sarah Newland because she's just so in awe of how Anna Camp is playing her and what a great character she is. So it was a love fest up there, you guys.
It always
As
is.
usual.
It always is.
Yeah.
So.
And Anna Paquin, they were talking about, towards the end, they were talking about, the final fan question was, somebody was trying to, I think, tactfully read them the riot act for the way that they killed Tara and Alcide, which, we've talked about this before where, we've gone off on this before, but, Bucky and Anna basically said what we said. Everybody grieves in their own way, and this is part of the storyline. Their timeline is not our timeline. Anna was getting a little fierce about it.
Yeah.
Because Bucky answered the question first and said, basically, can you just trust us that we know what we're doing?
Yeah.
And that this is it's all going to make sense. They will have time to grieve. This last, episode 5 gave everybody a chance, like we said, to just take a minute and grieve, to mourn. Suki got a chance to really grieve for Alcide, and it was her first opportunity.
Yeah.
Because that had happened, for us, it had been a couple of weeks. For Suki, it had been hours since it had happened. And, and it wasn't until she was, after the rescue at Fantasia, she broke down a little bit with Eric. She talked to him about it a little bit and, got some comfort from him.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until she got back from Fantasia and there was the party that she actually got to really start to process it all.
Right.
Which that reminds me about Robert Patrick too. But so Anna pitched in, she said, I also just want to say everybody grieves in their own way. Suki had to put on a brave face. All these people, they had to put on a brave face. They had to deal with the threat that was there.
Right. And
then they had a chance to grieve and to mourn. And just because somebody's not wailing and gnashing their teeth doesn't mean that they're not grieving. And she goes, and I'm sorry if it didn't come across that way.
Yeah.
So basically, she's sorry if she didn't do a good enough job that you could see what was going on there.
Yeah.
But it's like they're watching our podcast, Liz.
I know it is.
Because in last night's episode, we had that line about slut shaming too.
Yes. Which we will get to. We will talk about that.
Yeah.
A fan question was something about deviating from the books and something about who's going to end up with who or whatever.
They asked Anna it was either a fan or a moderator. The moderator asked Anna who she saw Suki with in the end.
Yeah.
Basically. They were kind of beating around the bush and trying to get an answer out of her.
They were trying to ask.
That was the question.
And she said, no matter what answer I give, somebody's going to be mad. I am not ever going to win by giving that answer. But she said, after saying that, I have to say that I know how Charlaine Harris wrote her ending. And to me, it totally made sense. It fit with the whole story and the whole relationship between Suki and Sam.
Hey Liz, who else said that?
You did. I said it in book 9.
I've been saying it since book 1.
Yep. When Eric started showing his cracks. But anyway, so she basically, and then she said, but I can't commit to any one answer because somebody's going to get mad. And she said, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Anna Paquin does not want to anger the fans. She appreciates all of you.
She really does.
I
know it's hard to tell sometimes because she's afflicted with resting bitch face. And she said it before. But if you're following her on Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, or if you got a chance to watch that Larry King Now interview, I mean, we're getting to see more of her personality. She's opening up a little bit more, and she's delightful. She is delightful,
and she appreciates
funny
the True Blood
smart
fans
and witty, and she loves the fans. I mean, if you see her interacting, I don't see anybody else interacting with the fans from True Blood on the level that she does on Twitter.
Yeah.
She
totally does.
She'll go and she'll be retweeting people and answering questions for like 2-hour stretches, and then she'll say, "I'm sorry, I have to go to work." And you're like, "Well, okay, go do your job."
Do your job.
But I mean, it's amazing that she's doing this.
Having said that, Anna Paquin also will tell it like it is. She is not afraid to. You're going to ask her a question. Be prepared for the answer. It may not be one that you actually like, and she's not meaning for it to piss you off or make you angry, but she's meaning to answer your question, and she will answer it the way she feels, and she's not going to hold back. She doesn't have to, and I appreciate that, because there are so many that will just, will say whatever
themselves.
And they'll say whatever, and I can't appreciate that, and I can't have any respect for people like that. But I can respect her, and even if I disagree with her answer, which so far I haven't.
No,
I'm just saying. But
I love her. I love when we get to see her on the panel. I actually was. We were down to the last question, and I was a little disappointed that she hadn't had a chance to show us that side of her, because she is fierce about Sookie. I mean, she loves her character. She loves Sookie. She fought hard to be Sookie. And in the past, when we've been on panels every year, well, not the first year, but every year since, when there's even been a hint of criticism about something, she will defend. She will say, "Look, this may have been the choice you would have made, but this is my character. This is my Sookie, and this is how I'm playing here." And she's not just throwing a performance on the wall like some people have suggested. Just the writers aren't just smoking dope and throwing words on a page either. That's so disrespectful to suggest that. But just because you don't like the way something's going, that's so disrespectful. But I mean, she puts a lot of thought into her character, into the motivation. It's obvious that she and Bucky now, and her and Alan Ball previously, were very close and talked a lot about what was going on, and what the motivation was, and all of it that goes into an actor who is really serious about a performance. And Anna is very serious about Sookie's performance. So on a slightly a much lighter note actually, that just reminded me that being dedicated to a performance, they talked about the scene, the party scene at Sookie's house. It took about a month for them to film the whole thing. And she and Carrie Preston, because they had to keep playing drunk over the course of a month, in order to do that, they would spin around and around and around until they were dizzy. And that's when they would be, that's the drunk effect, was because they were, until it was time for action, they would be spinning around to get dizzy. I thought that was so funny. I love it.
Way to make it real. Huh?
Yeah, that was, I don't remember that trick.
Oh, yeah. So, what else was talked about?
You live tweeted and I posted it on Facebook, which ticked off a couple of people. Sorry, I warned you. That there's going to be like 100 updates in the course of an hour and 15 minutes. That was really cool that they had an extended panel this year too, you guys. Normally it runs from like 5 to 6, but it's really like 5 to 5:50, 5:55, because they have to clear the room and get ready to get set for the next panel. So, but this year they booked from 5 to 6:15. So we actually got like an extra 20-25 minutes of panel from them, which was pretty awesome. And they made it so that they were the last panel of the day, so they didn't actually have to rush. I mean, they did have to clear the room to set up for the masquerade, but it wasn't, they didn't have to get off stage because there was another panel coming in. So that was nice, because it gave us a little extra time and gave them a little extra time to spend with us. So that was
one thing that Bucky did say was that there's still a lot of story to tell for this season. So he would like for the fans to give them a chance to tell their story.
Yeah.
Before making their final declaration over the season.
Mm-hmm.
Give them a chance to tell the story. He feels confident that they did a good job in leaving the characters in places where we would like to have seen them. Where we'd like to see them being left.
Yeah, he said he's confident that they left the characters where the fans would be okay.
It would be okay.
Not seeing them again.
Yes. So,
to me, I don't know.
It doesn't sound like they're just.
Doesn't sound like they're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks.
No. So, just give it a chance. Some of you people who are like, I'm so done with this season.
Okay, see you next week.
You don't even know what's coming yet. There's still 5 episodes.
4. We're down to 4.
Okay, 4 episodes left. You don't even know what's coming yet.
Yeah.
And from what they showed in the preview, the spoiler preview, that it's going to be intense, completely intense. And I think that many of you are going to be very surprised. So
I was surprised by a couple of things.
I was too. I sat there like this.
I was trying to do as quickly as I could. I was in the press section, so I wasn't going to get yelled at for having my iPad open.
Yeah.
Because when they're showing video in Ballroom 20, or actually in any of the panels, if you even have your phone on, they'll come take it from you because you're not allowed to video anything because it's copyrighted.
Right.
You're not allowed to video anything that's being shown on screen. So I was trying to be discreet, but I guess since I was in the press area, it wasn't a big deal. Okay. Nobody came and took it, but I kept looking down to try to type something on the iPad to post on Facebook, and I would miss something, so I had to watch it again and again and again when we got back to the hotel, and ran some screen caps, and we've got those posted on the site so you can speculate your hearts out. There's some good stuff in there. Yeah, I do want to, before we head into, we're going to do kind of a quick episode discussion because we do have to check out of our hotel.
Yeah.
But what was I going to say? Oh, I was in the press room for Scorpion, which is a new show coming to CBS, and Robert Patrick is one of the stars. And it sounds really good. It sounds like I was actually only in there because they were doing 3 shows together. They were doing Under the Dome, which I've never seen, and ended up having to interview a bunch of people about. So I'd be my way through that. And Scorpion, which was a new show, and which sounds super interesting. It's not at all what I thought it was. I thought it was like some hacker cyber crimes thing, but no, it's based on real. Like the real guy was there, doing the interviews with the executive producers, and they have stopped 100 wars that we've never heard of because they didn't happen. They go, it's this pool of geniuses that come up with solutions to problems, like major problems. Like in the pilot episode, they have to figure out how to land like 250 planes in an hour because of some attempted terrorist attack that took air traffic control offline or something. I haven't actually had a chance to watch the pilot, but that's what they were describing. So stuff like that. It's majorly intense and sounds really, really good. That's going to be on CBS this fall, and Robert Patrick is on there, and he's one of the non-geniuses that has to deal with all the geniuses. Anyway, so he was the last person that we got, and he comes to our table. We were the last table, like everybody else had left the press room, and he was he's singing as he comes to our table, and it's like, the last table, the best table. That's right. That's right.
The rockin'est table.
And he sits down. He's like, I called this press conference together today to announce my candidacy. he was being really funny. But anyway, before we really got into his new show, someone else wanted to ask him about True Blood. And I was like, yes, because I'm never really sure. In a press room, you kind of have to go by your gut on whether you can bring something up like that. But that's why I hung around after I got to meet Megan Follows from Rain, was because Robert Patrick. It's been a good con, you guys.
For her that day.
I was like, I can go home. I got my picture taken with her and everything. I can go home now. Megan Follows is Anna Green Gables, and then a bunch of other stuff. She's a national treasure. She's Canadian, but I'm going to claim her for us. But so I wasn't sure if I could bring up True Blood, but this other person did at the table, and he was perfectly willing to talk about it. And so we got a really nice 2 or 3 minute video snippet up on True-Blood.net of him talking about filming those, his final episodes, and Jackson and Alcide and what he had kind of hoped for with their character. And and I told him, I said, you made me cry last week with that episode. He's like, it was the jacket, right? I was like, yeah, it made me cry. He said, yeah, I cried. I cried too. It hit him when they were filming the scene in the trailer when Sookie calls him to tell him that Alcide died. He cried. So that was sweet. That was a nice moment. I was really glad that I stuck around for that.
Yeah. Very emotional.
It's an emotional final season.
It is. So, yeah, we're right with you. I started to get choked up when the cast started coming on the stage, and I knew this was the last time this was happening.
As they were leaving, I was like,
man,
don't cry. Don't be that person, but I'm going to cry.
It was hard. It was hard, guys.
It was hard. The last one, it's been an odyssey for us.
Yeah, it really has.
Because we came, the first year we came was the first year they came.
Yes. So
we'll be back next year.
I feel like we grew with them a little bit as far as Comic-Con goes. So
we will be back next year because this isn't True Blood related. But if you saw the tweet,
it's huge.
My friend Alexander Siddig has been cast in Game of Thrones season 5. So excited that the news is out there finally and it's official. And if you're interested, I run his official site. I have since 1996. You can find it at sidcity.net, sidcity.net, or alexandersiddig.com. They both go to the same place.
Google his name and that site will come up right away.
It'll pop right up. So excited about that. So we'll be back next year for that.
Yeah.
Faux show.
And, the rest of Comic-Con was parties and
more press and
rubbing
getting
shoulders
sunburned, standing out in the 15 hours one morning waiting for Sleepy Hollow.
Sleepy Hollow. For those of you who have gotten into Witches of East End, like we have.
I still have my tattoo. Can we see it?
Yes.
I don't know.
She got tattooed.
I got a twist.
We went to, that was the first party we went to.
Yep, on Thursday night.
And the whole cast was there.
Mm-hmm.
And what fun. They were so into it. They were so into it. They just had a ball, and can I just tell you, the two lead guys, okay, they're brothers
on the
show, and Yum. We've known Eric Winter since Moonlight.
Yeah.
So I was able to tell him that it felt good to be able to go up to him and say, we've been fans since Moonlight. He's like, I love that show.
Yeah.
But then there's Daniel DiTomaso, and I'm not sure if I'm saying his last name right. I don't care, because when you look at him, you don't even remember his name. And that's a bad thing to say, and I'm sorry if he ever sees this. I'm sorry, but
he's also really nice.
He is a sweet, and he's gonna
hot. He's gonna be a nice boy.
He's gonna be a nice boy on our Nice Girls website, but very, very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Very excited about getting in there and answering questions and chatting and having fun and taking pictures.
Yeah. We got pictures of all.
I was trying to get it out. Can I know you're on your way to go see somebody. He says, you want a picture?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that was really exciting.
And Rachel Boston.
Been
a fan of her since the X List.
Julia Ormond.
She was like, you watch.
She is a beautiful lady. She's a beautiful girl. And
and Julia Ormond.
Yeah. So they were all there. We didn't see them all. I saw Julia, a glimpse, and but with the boys and Rachel, we got pictures taken with them.
Yeah.
And got to chat with them just a little bit. So they're a very excited cast and very happy for the feedback and the just seeing how their show is becoming such a favorite. So something to watch when True Blood ends, Witches of East End. It's really, really good.
Yep.
So it's on Lifetime.
Partway into season 2, so if you haven't watched it yet, you've got a whole other season that you can catch up on first.
I'm pretty sure on demand. has all of the first season. So
and Lifetime does those marathons too.
Yeah. So catch up with it. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
We also went to the NBC party, got to rub shoulders with the Grimm cast again, which is always amazing.
Mm-hmm.
They're a beautiful cast, and we got to talk to Russell Hornsby, who plays Hank on the show.
He gave me a giant kiss on the cheek.
He's just
big old hug.
He's a big teddy bear.
I'm like, what's up, man?
He's a big teddy bear, and so I mean, the whole cast pretty much was there, and it's just fun. They're a great cast too.
Yeah. Brian Fuller from Hannibal, the showrunner of Hannibal, Pushing Daisies, which is, of course, is what we love him for.
Yeah.
He was there, and he remembers us every year, and we cannot quite figure out what we've done to make such an impression on him.
No, but I'm declaring that he's our friend.
I think we can call him that now. Because every time he sees us, we, big old hugs, and he's like 11 foot tall, so that's fun. We took a picture with him. He's like doing the squats to get down to our level. He is very tall.
And he gave a funny picture too.
Yeah.
So
we got to hang out with him for a little while, and then the cast of Constantine, which is a new show coming to NBC. We got to hang out with them a little bit, talk to David S. Goyer, who wrote Batman Begins, and he's got Da Vinci's Demons on Stars right now, which my friend Sid is also in. And so we had that connection, which was nice because I haven't actually seen the Constantine pilot yet. So when they said, "Hey, have you seen Constantine?" I was like, no, sorry. I haven't had time.
Wanted to.
But I've seen Da Vinci's Demons. So that kind of saved it, but not really. It was awkward. But we did get a picture taken with him, and he loved our friend Stacy. So
yeah.
Everybody loves Stacy. So that was cool. He's the showrunner for Constantine as well. And if the connection there with True Blood, sort of, kind of, not so much anymore, is that Lucy Griffiths, who played Nora, Eric's sister, on True Blood, was going to be the female lead in Constantine, but for some reason
they wrote her character
out. They
decided to go in a different direction.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I guess it just wasn't working.
Yeah,
which is weird because she was a major character in the graphic novels.
Yeah, I don't know how that wouldn't work, but I haven't seen it either. So
I wasn't brave enough to ask when we were talking to him. I thought about it, and it's like, might get kicked out.
Go with your gut. Always go with your gut.
I get kicked out.
So it was an exciting week for us, and we'll be back next year. Even though True Blood won't be, there's going to be other shows that we hope you guys will pick up and consider your favorites. And although they might not be 100% substitutes for True Blood, we hope that they'll.
And the cast is going to be doing other things.
Yeah.
I mean, Deborah Ann Wool's been cast in Netflix's Daredevil.
Yeah.
That's going to be here next year.
Sure. She'll be here.
So Deb will be here.
Janina Gavankar was.
She wasn't here this year.
She wasn't here this year, but she was following everybody.
Yeah, because I think they're working on Mysteries of Laura in New York. So
because she's a big geek.
Yeah, she is a big geek.
She's a tech geek.
And just depending on who's doing what next, chances are pretty good that we'll see them. So,
yeah.
We'll be keeping you up to date on who's doing what.
Yeah.
In future years at Comic-Con as well. If you have a chance, you guys. I mean, if you're watching this podcast and you're a nerd about True Blood, you're just a nerd.
You fit.
This is your tribe.
It really.
If you have a chance, you need to come. You need to come to Comic-Con at least once in your life.
Yeah, you have to put it on your bucket list. It's crazy busy. It's physically exhausting, but it is so much fun. It is so much fun.
Your hair is gonna look like this.
Your eyes are gonna have bags. You might get a cold.
Poor Liz.
I couldn't go to the WB party.
She was so sick.
I had a fever.
Yeah.
So I stayed in my room, and fortunately, I always thought I was going to have to go home, but fortunately I did not have to because Liz bounces back.
Yeah, she does. I was impressed.
So
I'm probably going to have the cred this week when I get home, but
yeah,
Liz got the Comic-Con cred at Comic-Con.
On my birthday.
Rarely happens. Yeah, her birthday was yesterday too.
It happened on my birthday, so yeah. If you can't tell, I love my birthday. Just saying.
We threw her a surprise party on Wednesday when she got here.
It really was a surprise.
I have pictures of her face.
My family knew.
Yep.
They kept it from me.
Yeah.
So I guess we should talk a little bit briefly because we're going to have to get going.
We are. They're going to want us to check out here.
Yeah, and I think our ride has been trying to get a hold of us.
So. I told her noon.
I thought so too.
Only 10:45.
She might be just trying to confirm.
Yeah, whatever.
So.
All right. Okay. So I'm pulling up the notes from last night because we also had Lisa and Minda were watching the show with us last night. We forgot to take a picture, but all 4 of us from the site were together. So just trust us. It happened.
That was totes cool.
Pixar didn't happen.
Totes cool.
It was a lot of fun. So glad we got to meet Lisa finally.
Yeah.
They're our East Coasters, so we've met Minda before. She's been here, but this is the first time we met Lisa. So
yeah.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Minda. They're on their way home now.
They're all traveling. Everybody's traveling today. So.
All right.
So yeah. So another emotional episode. You know, I gotta tell you,
realizing that she was the carrier, that she infected Bill. Wow.
And some of you guys called that.
Yeah, I'm glad they explained it because I was trying to work it out because it seemed like it came on so fast, but it has to be because of the fairy blood, right?
Yeah. For the same reason that Bill is reacting to it, to the sickness coming on him so quickly, because it's from her. Everything's happening. Everything happens quickly. I mean, even when you give birth as a fairy, a week later you're a teenager.
Yeah.
So, but you know, here's the thing: when Anna Paquin does an emotional scene like that, I defy anybody, man, woman, animal, dog, cat, to not cry. Yeah. She will rip the heart right out of you because she throws herself into it, body and soul. And she did that last night. And when she started to cry, I might get a little emotional. I don't know if it's the cold, but just watching her really seriously, it was terrible. She
was devastated.
It killed me to find out that she was the cause of Bill dying. And then she had to go and face Jessica and tell Jessica.
It was her, yeah.
And I loved that Jason was with her when she found out. That was a beautiful brother-sister moment.
That was, yeah.
So beautiful. I loved it so much.
And it wasn't just about him being there to support her. They actually had a real conversation about love and relationships. And him realizing that, you know what, Violet's not good for me. That's not who I want to be with.
And, you know, and for him to realize that he doesn't even know, really.
I mean, and he said that he, you know, he's never had that kind of love with anyone